Well, we promised ourselves and our audience that we would continue to discuss Picard Season 2 objectively. And like Discovery, I think after Season 2, I'm out. I'm out like D.B. Cooper's. You know?
Yeah. Take the money and bail.
Well, there's no money. In fact, we're at a net loss of both minutes of our lives and brain cells. But we're just going to jump out of that plane.
Red alert! If you haven't seen Jean-Luc Picard's glorious return with your own eyes, then you need to turn around right now and make it so.
Who is watching this? Like somebody must be, because they're pumping a lot of money, and they've got that new. They just cast the new actor who's going to play James T. Kirk in Strange New Worlds. I said Brave New Worlds last time.
Close
Strange
enough.
New Worlds. They cast an actor who's going to be Kirk, I guess. I don't know. I thought it was Pike and crew, but I guess Kirk is going to be in it in some capacity. But so they've got that. I think the Section 31 show is on like pause mode. I don't think they're quite in production of that yet. But you know, in addition to the cartoons, they have 3 major series, live action series. Strange New Worlds, Picard, and Discovery going on that they're filming. I mean, these things aren't cheap. There's not much else on Paramount Plus. I watch a show called Ghosts.
I just started watching that.
The
with
BBC
Karen.
one?
The BBC one on HBO Max. Is that better?
It's much better.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
The BBC one is far superior to the US one, but the US one is still pretty okay.
Okay.
It's not worth getting a Paramount Plus subscription for it. The BBC one's a lot of fun.
I watched the first 2 episodes of the BBC one literally last night.
Yeah.
And tonight, just to see the difference, I was going to watch like some of the American one.
It's a clever premise for a sitcom.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Picard is a clever premise for a sitcom. I don't know.
I think it would
about
be.
that. The doddering old man goes on violent, hardcore adventures with a crew of mercenaries that are best friends for absolutely no reason.
Well, let's talk about that. That's one of my questions.
Yeah.
The first episode of Picard, we found all of our lovely friends from season 1 of Picard. Raffi, Eleanor, 7 of 9, Captain Rios, Girardi, Dr. Girardi, scientist lady,
Soji, who apparently has noped the fuck out of that show.
Yeah, Soji had a brief appearance, and then of course Captain Picard, and then they all go on a little mission on the Stargazer because there's a space entity. The Admiral, who tells Picard that they want to talk to Picard specifically, doesn't know that it's the Borg until they show up, and then evil Borg Queen appears on the bridge of the Stargazer, and then Captain Picard blows the ship up, but apparently Q has intervened, which is the teaser end of episode 1, and then Q apparently has snapped his fingers and sent them all to an alternate present. He pulled out all of Picard's friends from season 1, even though I don't know how he knows that. Why did he bring Eleanor? Eleanor was serving on the Excelsior or something, and then Raffi was somewhere else. And how did he know which characters were Picard's friends from season 1? And why did he not bring that robot girl?
Why are they the only ones who can remember? Why them? What's special about this crew of loose acquaintances who went on a weird, bad adventure a year and a half previously? I guess because they're the protagonists.
Because they all signed a 3-season contract?
You've been talking a lot about second chances. Well, my friend, welcome to the very end of the road not taken.
Cute, that fucking cryptic fucking Alex Kurtzman style dialogue where I don't know what the fuck's going on. Like Q's talking about like atonement. Atonement for what, Q? You're the one who reset the timeline to be a dystopia.
Oh, I could tell you, but you're far too clever to listen.
I'm getting the vibe that they're going to basically steal the storyline for All Good Things.
There's a there's a mixed bag of different things they had taken from. One of them is Deep Space Nine, the Bell Riots. We're working up to the Bell Riots.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember what year that was?
2024?
What year did they go to in Picard?
2024.
Sanctuary District, what year is this?
Same year as it was yesterday, 2024. Let's go.
Yeah, we're going to have the Bell Riots.
Okay.
I'm wondering, this is more baseless speculation on Rich Evans' part, if the Watcher isn't going to be Avery Brooks. It's going to be Bell.
Well, they have people with glowing eyes. I think Watchers are just going to be aliens. I'm sorry. Either way, they're probably going to cherry pick random things from throughout Star Trek and throw it in this ugly blender.
Yeah.
A lot of familiar TNG greatest hits. You've got Q, Guinan, Time Travel, the Borg Queen.
Because that's, obviously there's First Contact.
Star Trek
similarities.
4.
Star Trek 4, yep. Rios falls and hits his head and ends up in the hospital, just like, Chekhov. And then, of course, obviously the Mirror Universe.
Through a mirror darkly, and here the man who holds the glass is darker still. Let me show you.
Oh,
That
yeah.
is our second episode.
Alex Kurtzman loves the Mirror Universe because it's dark, bitter, and violent.
And so, like, they wake up in alternate future where there's like this. It's called the Confederation, and it's like a fascist nightmare world.
It's like the Mirror Universe, but not the Mirror Universe.
Yeah, they didn't want to call it the same thing.
They heard the complaints about why is my Star Trek so bitter and violent? I don't like it when the Federation are horrible monsters. And they heard the criticisms, and they're like, we're going to fix the Federation. And then we're getting away from there because we want to be dark, violent, and gritty. So we're going to an alternate future now where it's okay to be violent, angry monsters because it's the dark future.
Yeah.
It's like they can't write anything that isn't cynical.
Show them a world of their own making, and they ask you what you've done. So human of you.
That is exactly why to me, it feels like it's going to be similar to All Good Things.
Yeah.
It's a causality loop.
He might be giving me a chance somehow to save humanity.
So I have a new theory, and I'm sure you picked up on this too.
Say what it is, and I'll tell you.
I don't think the Borg Queen is Picard's mother anymore.
Okay.
I think it's going to be Girardi.
Oh.
And I think Picard hooking Girardi up to the Borg Queen is going to create a new Borg Queen in the future that causes a causality loop.
I think that's an interesting theory.
I wanted to make fun of the fact that the evil headquarters of the Confederation, the Nazi-like empire that destroys other races in the galaxy through conquest, is the Walt Disney Concert Hall in Los Angeles. And then the premise is the Confederation is evil. Picard has a bunch of skulls displayed in his parlor.
There's some cheesy fun in that.
I enjoyed that.
But like the tone and music, they're going for sinister, but it's so silly. You have Golden Cot's skull, and you have some names. I wrote down some names. Picard's evil
Martok.
universe ship
Yeah.
is named the CSS World Razor.
Yeah.
And what were they going to put, like the skulls in the Museum of Conquest?
Yes.
There may be tribute photos of their bodies on file at the Museum of Conquest. Would you like me to inquire?
Picard's robot servant says the photos of his Romulan love and her
That's
husband are displayed in their dead bodies. The photos of their dead bodies are displayed in the Museum of Conquest. And Picard has slaves.
Uh-huh.
Like
they're
literal slaves.
And they're about to celebrate Eradication Day.
Yes.
Like, why are they treating this so seriously? When this is obviously schlock. This is crying out to be a comedy.
Yes. Do you remember a Voyager episode where the Doctor, his hollow emitter, ends up on an alien planet like 1,000 years in the future, and they turn him on?
Uh-huh.
The historical events of when Voyager visited their planet were so like distorted by history.
That's the episode you took the clips of Janeway from out of context
Right,
in the
yes.
Plinkett review?
I did. And Janeway has like guns all over her walls, and and it's played for yucks.
Yes.
Because obviously that wasn't exactly accurate, but it's kind of funny that this race kind of viewed her as that hundreds and hundreds of years ago, and so that's kind of the joke. But yes, display of skulls is kind of comical.
Yeah.
And it's has this very serious tone to it. And
Like Q is not hamming this up at all, and what a waste.
yeah, he's very kind of sinister, Q.
He's deadly serious, gets serious business now. Well, gee, I'm glad you brought Q back after 30 years so we can't have fun with him.
You want me to cut to the chase?
Yes!
For the chase is cut, Picard. The chase is bleeding. The chase is dying in your arms. And I am but a suture in the wound.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot my hat.
There's fun Q episodes, right? There's like the Robin Hood one, and
Robin Hood.
the one where he shows up and that girl, the young girl, has Q powers. There's light Q.
I don't interfere with what you're teaching.
You would be incapable
and I don't
of
think it's asking too much that you do the same.
But then there's sinister Q, like All Good Things or Encounter at Farpoint, when he's the judge and he's still,
even though like he represents a very serious threat, the way he acts though is very aloof. He's having fun being sinister.
Yeah.
Starlog entry. Star date today.
And so we'll see. We're going to pause on that. We'll see what happens in the future if there's something wrong with Q.
Yeah.
Are you? Q, you are not well.
A safe galaxy is a human galaxy.
Now, let's talk about Eradication Day, AKA the Trump rally. So 7 of 9 is not a lesbian in the alternate universe, and she's married to a man. The man comes into her office and says, let's go down, today's Eradication Day. And let's go down to Dr. Girardi's secret science office. And today, on Eradication Day, we're going to kill the Borg Queen. Let's bring her up from her cell and look at her for no reason at all. Why'd they do that?
So they could introduce the fact that the Borg Queen is in captivity?
I'm not saying why did the hack writers do that,
Oh.
but why did they do that in the storyline?
I don't know. I mean, the president always goes to visit high-profile prisoners before they're executed, right? I mean, that just happens.
I don't know.
It annoys me that they're all best fucking friends. It's not like we've established these relationships over time. Like, by the end of TNG season 7, I knew why the crew cared about each other. They've been through 7 years of adventure. With this, like, it all happened off camera, and now they're best friends? Like, Elnor died, right? In episode 3. And, like, Rafe was, like, she took it, like, the hardest out of everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? When did they have any fucking screen time together? Did they even talk to each other in season 1? And then I remembered, apparently in the vast span of time between season 1 and 2, they became best friends and she put him through Starfleet Academy.
Right.
Keeping him under your wing, mate.
That boy's absolute candor can get his ass kicked. So, I'm protective of him.
Frankly, I find it very pleasing.
It felt so jarring, though, because me watching that, I'm like, why the fuck does she care so much, personally, her?
Right. And how wildly inappropriate is it for her to have that little control over her emotions? I mean, you remember, like, TNG, like when the fucking sister ship to the Enterprise blew up?
Sensors indicate no life reading, sir.
Like 2,000 people died, or like, colleagues died. They're just like, okay, we're gonna deal with our emotions later. We have a job to do.
All those people
dead. I don't know how you and Commander Riker and Geordi, how you handle it so easily.
We handle it because we're trained to. As you will be. Tea Earl Grey, hot.
You're right. I just hate making out death certificates.
Because they're trained Starfleet officers.
Because that's quality Star Trek from 25 years ago, when Star Trek was about reason triumphing over emotion.
Yes, exactly. And Raffi's like swearing at Picard, calling him like, he's like, you're a terrible leader. And it's like, well, he didn't do anything.
Raffi, I know what you are feeling.
I promise you don't.
Like they went back in time. They're trying to stop.
She's blaming him personally.
Because what I'm feeling right now is intense shock, disappointment in leadership.
Well, yeah, and it's like those.
What the fuck did he do?
The soldiers beamed up and shot him.
He didn't say, Q, send me back in time and make the world miserable.
And she's like, you and your buddy Q are palling around, and you think this is all a game? And he's like, I don't think it's a game. She's like, you're terrible. You're an old man who's stupid. I fucking hate you. Elnor, I loved him. He was my best friend. I'm like, those two didn't even have a scene together. Why is she so mad?
I have some notes from that scene around when Elnor. Do you want me to read my notes?
Sure.
First thing I wrote, fuck Elnor.
Right.
Why is Lady mad at Picard? How the fuck is Q Picard's fault? And then I wrote fake drama.
She's too emotional.
Yeah, right.
Because this is bullshit.
Yeah.
This is the writer thought, I want some emotion.
Yeah.
People are just going to scream at each other.
Yeah. And it gives some kind of stakes where it's like, well, if they succeed in their mission, maybe Elnor can come back to life.
Yeah, it's a time travel thing. Of course he's going to come back to life and succeed in your fucking mission.
Yeah.
We fixed time. Does it bring Elnor back?
I mean...
Shut up and do your job, Raffi.
Yeah, I mean, if Raffi was not a Starfleet officer, I could give it some wiggle room there, but she is. And yeah, you're right. It's fake drama.
Yeah.
It's outside of the logic of the show of Star Trek. And it's like, yeah, when somebody died, but who cares? You're on a mission to save like time.
not just humanity, but time.
Yes, there's something seriously wrong. The entire timeline has been skewed to evil. And you're worried about Elnor, who you don't even barely know.
Elnor!
A safe galaxy is a human galaxy. So something happened in 2024 that turned humanity into a nightmare land.
Yeah.
Much like First Contact. Briefly, the Enterprise is kind of like in the middle of time streams, remember? When it's caught in the temporal wake, and the ship's flying, and then they see the Earth, and it's all populated by billions of Borgs, remember?
Yeah.
And then they said, well, we got to continue through this, because the Borg have already changed time. We better follow them back through the little spatial vortex, back to fucking, what, 20-something, First Contact day? And travel back then and solve the problem before it becomes a Borg world. That seems to be what this is. They're going to travel back. They saw a little glimpse of the future.
Yeah.
With the present, which is the fascist nightmare of the Confederacy. And then they somehow slingshot around the sun, travel back to 2024.
A single change.
What was it? When was it?
Calculating. 2024.
To apparently stop it because the Borg Queen said, go talk to a watcher.
There is someone there to help. A watcher. Seek the watcher.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, well,
Q didn't send them to 2024.
There's somebody else in the past who doesn't belong there. It was something like that.
But they needed the Borg Queen because the Borg Queen could do the calculations like Spock super fast in order to to input the proper calculations to slingshot them around the sun.
Yeah.
Which was fine. That's exciting. And then they travel back to 2024 I think their mission is to look for the Watcher.
If the Watcher is our only lead, then it's probably some alien species that doesn't belong here.
I know they're up against the wall, but when you bring the Borg Queen into the past, isn't she just gonna instantly link up with the collective and say, hey, bring your cubes over here now?
Well, that was the danger in Star Trek First Contact.
Yes.
Yeah. I guess maybe she doesn't have the ability to.
Okay.
They needed to use the deflector dish to shoot a signal off, remember?
I wonder if they're going to address that or if we're going to have like a disgusting Borg invasion.
Let me ask you this question. Do you think Alex Kurtzman knows that?
No.
Okay. Well, there are no Borgs in 2024. I don't know why he sounds like a NASCAR driver. There ain't no Borgs in 2024. I want to address something real quick.
Yeah.
That's something that's been annoying me in the past year or two. And I don't know if you feel the same way, but there's this notion or this talking point that's been repeated.
I think that science fiction at its core is not really about the future. Science fiction is really about now.
That doesn't mean your exploration of those issues has to be like
Dumb?
surface level shallow.
Yes, but it's not always true in Star Trek.
How can we tell stories that reflect our time? You really can't do Star Trek without thinking of it in that way, I think.
Sorry.
I was digging through all my hard drives of all my Star Trek shows, and I'm looking at all the episode titles, and I'm just like, hey, that's a good episode. That's a good episode. Mostly all, they're silly ones.
Yeah.
They're ones where they're trapped in some kind of thing, and they got to figure their way out. And there's ones about
You've been infusing me with the same sort of anaphasic energy that killed Quint.
this character doing this. Deanna Troi is doing this, and she has a baby. You remember that she has a baby? An alien went in her belly and made a baby that came out in 2 days, right?
Yeah.
There's episodes like that.
Yeah.
And then there was silly Quark episodes, and there's all sorts of nonsense in Star Trek. But mostly, there will be some kind of ethical dilemma that comes up. I've always liked this episode of Voyager called The Void. I don't know if you remember
Is that the one where they were trapped in the space that was draining their energy
Yes.
and they had to learn to get along with everybody and work together as opposed to fight each other?
Yes.
That was classic fucking Star Trek.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite Star Trek.
That's probably my
Voyager.
favorite Voyager episode.
Yeah.
I'm simply trying to demonstrate how cooperation and tolerance can benefit everyone.
And then one of the people in the Alliance are a little sketchy, and they're like, "Oh, we got the parts that we need, because they're trying to build a way to get out, right? So we got the parts that we need." And she's like, "How did you get them? Did you trade for them? Did you, He's like, "No, we stole them and fucking killed the people. We took it. Well, we're not using it." And they're like, "We need the parts, Janeway." She's like, "No, we didn't get the parts ethically. I won't use them." She's like, "I have moral high ground,
But why waste this technology when we're so close to escaping?
Because it's a violation of everything this alliance stands for.
Refusing the modulator won't bring back the people he killed.
No, but using it would make us accessories to murder.
If I were in charge of Voyager, that episode of Voyager would have basically been like the entire second half of the entire series for me. I'd have had them get to the point, like they're trying to get home, they're trying to go home. Then they run into like Borg space and say, oh shit, it's nothing but like Borgs for millions of light years. I'd have had like the last 2 or 3 seasons been them like turning back and doing that kind of shit, like establishing a new federation on the other side of the galaxy.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is a good little concept. There's a lot of Voyager episodes that have good little concepts where they get stuck in a situation and they have to kind of still adhere to their principles. Well, we all remember Voyager Distant Origin. Future dinosaurs.
Yes.
Who live in a theocratic society.
That are now millions of times more advanced than we are.
Yes, and they tried, and the theocracy tries to suppress their actual origins because it doesn't fit with their doctrine, aka their religious text or Bible or whatever, their creation myth. which is funny because they're dinosaurs, and creationists don't think dinosaurs are real. It's like when scientists in the past said something that the church didn't like, you know. The earth revolve around the sun, or does the sun revolve around the earth? You're committing heresy, you know. And it's like they had that kind of mindset in the future, and the scientists wanted to like expose the truth of their actual origins, but the old like dinosaur lady was like, it's like, I will have you arrested and imprisoned forever if you dare question the doctrine. And so, you know, he's like, I got the proof. It's Chakotay. Look, we have the same DNA. We're from Earth. We're dinosaurs.
It's saying something.
It's silly, but it's saying something without being too overly preachy or making you understand viewpoints, right?
Yeah.
But then when we get to Star Trek Picard, they don't seem to know how to integrate the problems that exist in today's world within a storyline that gets you involved and allows you to see both sides of an issue and understand the problem. They just say, here they are. And I don't know if you noticed how much was crammed into the third episode.
Well, I know you got the Rio stuff. You got immigration and healthcare. That was two of them.
Well, I mean, episode 2 was...
I didn't mind that plot line, though.
We'll see where it goes.
We'll see where it goes. I didn't mind that plot line so far. I'm enjoying... That's probably the thing I'm enjoying most so far this season. That bit with him interacting with Lady Doctor.
The Doctor, yeah. But you have... there's the... You know, I said fascism/nationalism. Climate change?
Yeah.
In your history, humanity discovered a way to spare the planet they were in the process of murdering.
Fossil fuel pollution, early ozone deterioration, no radioactive fallout. I'm guessing we're pretty close to when we want to be.
The wildfires, ozone layer, pollution, blah, blah, blah. This is before Q says something. This is before you destroyed your whole planet. They've got the little shield that protects them from smog in the future, remember?
They're dealing with these issues very delicately. They are using a surgeon sledgehammer.
Dr. Gallagher?
Is that who wrote the episode, Dr. Gallagher?
Yeah.
Fire poisons the sky. Trees gone, water dry. Soon no food, no breathable air. Maybe the future we saw starts right here.
Not if we can help it.
Yeah, you mentioned the ice raid. When the whites break in, undocumented immigrants, we're gonna get you. Led by Tim Heidecker, Raffi wanders into homeless camps in Los Angeles, which are in the shadow of the big corporate bank buildings, right?
Yeah.
And a nice little rack focus, which I guess is capitalism is bad.
You know, I've never been able to understand how a society could exist with so many contradictions and not collapse sooner than it did. You're killing it, 2024.
And then there's one little thing in there where somebody says, I think it's Girardi.
Uh-huh.
She says, don't bring your phaser. The technology of the time could scan you and discover your vaccination chip. You caught that, did you?
Oh yeah, they had to mention the vaccination.
And I'm like,
they're throwing it all out there, Mike.
Anything that can scan you, it can find the ID implants and vaccination chips from a future that doesn't exist yet.
I understand.
Next Gen obviously had issues that were brought up, but they were cleverly woven into the story, and they were.
And it usually didn't write the other side, like just straight up villains most of the time.
Right.
They had some kind of reasoning, even if Picard was going to come in and prove them wrong with his words by the end of the episode, they had some kind of reasoning behind the things they wanted.
Comments?
And sometimes some of our characters did too. You know, whether or not they should use Hugh as a conduit to destroy the Borg. You know, people were for and against that, and they all discussed it.
A system's failure will destroy them.
I just think we should be clear about that. We're talking about annihilating an entire race.
Which under most circumstances would be unconscionable. But as I see it, the Borg leave us with little choice.
I agree. We're at war.
There's been no formal declaration of war.
They've attacked us at every encounter.
But even in war, there are rules. You don't kill civilians indiscriminately.
There are no civilians among the Borg.
How convenient.
This is just pointing things out.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's it. At least so far. I'm curious to see how their fascist nightmare world comes about.
I'm just trying to find a solution that would satisfy everyone.
We're concerned about our citizens. We take our obligations to them seriously.
Real world issues are important, but they invade every aspect of our lives. TV is a little escapism. I want it to be an intelligent debate.
I've been preached to many times watching Star Trek. When Riker wanted to get into a relationship with a non-gendered species person who wanted to be a female, I understood what they were saying.
Soren is sick, and sick people want to get well.
Did it occur to you that she might like to stay the way she is?
And I enjoyed the episode.
We have a very high success rate in treating deviants like this, and without exception, they become happier people after their treatment, and grateful that we care enough to cure them.
You can do it.
It can be done.
It's been done. I don't have faith in the people making the Star Trek now, though, to do that. To do smart.
Computer, dictate the file log shit I stole from the Borg Queen.
Would you just tell me, on a scale of 1 to 1,000,000, how excited you are to be back on the set with the cast and crew?
Yes. And of course, given the circumstances of the past year, there is extra joy that we are back again.
I hold information you need. You, against all odds, hope I'll relent. Therefore, you won't deactivate me.
The Borg Queen's their adversary. She's probably up to no good. She's a little sneaky. And Rios is now in the hospital, and then he got arrested by ICE. And 7 of 9 and Rafi are looking for the Watcher. Is the Watcher going to be Picard's mother?
That's one of the major possibilities. Picard's mother, Benjamin Sisko. Throw another. Like 7 of 9 showed up in season 1 of Picard. That was like random out of nowhere. She didn't have any past association with Picard. That's fine.
Well,
they could do the same thing. They could do the same thing with Benjamin Sisko.
But Avery Brooks is much older. Like, he can't be the same Avery Brooks.
Whatever.
I mean, I just don't know how that's going to work.
They'll pull a Whoopi Goldberg. Well, you know, he felt uncomfortable not aging along with everyone else around him, so he decided he would let himself age.
Yeah.
That's the only fun I get out of the show, if I'm going to be honest. It's the wild speculation on what stupid thing they're going to do. That's the joy in it for me.
Yeah, I guess.
If this were TNG era, I would have the answers. It would have been a good 1 or 2-parter, and I'd be on to the next episode, anticipating it. Now I've got to just slop questions floating around in my head.
That's what it is, kind of. It's like Star Trek slop.
Yeah.
It's just like they just grabbed like random things from all of Star Trek and just slopped it in a bucket. Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like, right?
A lot of familiar TNG greatest hits. You've got Q, Guinan, time travel, the Borg Queen. How did you approach putting season 2 story together?
I feel like being a little bit positive. I like Rios' interaction with Lady Doctor.
Sure.
That was a nice, you know what? I'm going to be a little bit positive because I just feel like it. That's a nice subplot they got going on. I'm going to see where they go with that. I also did kind of like the scene where murderer Agnes was hooked up to the Borg Queen. And her subconscious was talking to Picard. Meanwhile, the Borg Queen's trying to take her over. That was a good scene.
Yeah, I was okay with that.
Yeah.
That and I have a feeling this is going to happen. Rios is going to get scooped up by ICE, and then he's going to spearhead some kind of immigration reform and get involved in that and become like an activist.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a feeling that Seven of Nine and Girardi are going to address the issues of climate change and try to solve that problem. Completely going against Girardi's advice of not interfering.
It's beginning.
Not yet. Tricorder's still tuning to the latent frequencies.
I mean the future. Out there. Fire poisons the sky. Trees gone, water dry. Maybe the future we saw starts right here.
Not if we can help it.
Do you ever watch those Ocean's 11's movies?
I probably should, but no.
I think it's the third one. I think it's Casey Affleck and some other guy. They have this big scheme, right? Because it's Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
Where they're fucking with the weighted dice. They want to create weighted dice. So they go to because they're fucking with Al Pacino's new casino that's opening.
Yeah.
I think this is the third one. So Casey Affleck and his friend are part of the Ocean's team, and their mission, because they all have different missions, it's a big convoluted thing. Their mission is to go down to the factory that makes the dice in Mexico, and ship up the weighted dice. But they end up getting caught up in like a workers' rebellion because they aren't getting paid well, and they have no like insurance and all this kind of stuff. And that sort of sidetracks because there's all these different problems.
Hey, are you gonna get the factory open?
Oh, hell yes! We just gotta break management! They can't keep treating us like this! I gotta go!
Don Cheadle's trying to cause an earthquake with a machine underground. So they're trying to sabotage Al Pacino's casino opening. So they want to shake and they're trying to rig all the slot machines to hit the progressives. But I think Rios is going to do that. And if this were a fun show, I think that would be. They're going to take it too seriously.
Yeah.
The subject matter's too real world serious. But I think Rios is going to want to try to reform our immigration system. He's going to help a bunch of like illegal aliens or undocumented migrants cross the border.
Yeah.
That's going to be his plot line. And Seven of Nine is going to find a way to put out the California wildfires.
We are on the outskirts of the biggest catastrophe humanity has ever faced, and our government is doing nothing.
Who is Seven of Nine going to shoot to put out the fires?
No, Seven of Nine is going to shoot. There's going to be a new government that gets a new president that gets elected, and the Environmental Protection Agency head is going to be some like crazed Republican who wants to like start up all the factories again, and Seven of Nine is going to assassinate him. She's just going to kick the door open to his office and say, "You're causing climate change," and then shoot him with a phaser that vaporizes him. And then she says, "Those vapors from your charred corpse are carbon neutral."
What if the new president that gets elected is Damon Bach? It's part of his. This is part of his new revenge scheme against Picard.
Yes. And he has that little plastic dome, and Picard's He's still mad about that Picard killed his son.
That's why they brought the Stargazer back in the first episode, Mike.
Yeah, that's right. There you go. Oh, Rich, we had to have so much fun writing a Star Trek show with Picard in it.
Yeah.
Well, season 2 actually ultimately turns out to be a sort of Picard looking into Picard.
Rich, I wholeheartedly agree with you. We're searching for smart writing in Star Trek, and it's changed.
Yeah.
I think we'll have to kind of throttle back on our analysis of what they're trying to say with this. So we're gonna ignore that, and we're gonna figure out who's gonna be the big bad Borg Queen monster in the end.
My dark horse pick is Damon Bach.
Damon Bach. Okay, that's as the Borg Queen.
Ooh, yeah, the Borg King, the as of yet unseen Borg King.
Okay.
Is Damon Bach. He integrated himself in the Borg as part of an elaborate revenge scheme against Picard.
Okay. I'm going with Alison Girardi becomes the Borg because Here's some clues, right?
Yeah.
Allison Girardi in the first episode, she's drunk at the bar.
Hey, well, look, I'm half in the bag anyway, so I'm gonna give you a little advice.
And she says, the guy's hitting on her, and she's like, I don't do relationships. My last relationship ended terribly. I'm really bad at that. Then there's a little moment when the Borg Queen is in her cage, and she's like, I'm the Borg Queen, I'm fucking crazy. And she recognizes 7 of 9, she recognizes there's a time change, and she looks at Girardi, and they have a little moment. And she says, you're not comfortable anywhere in any time, not with yourself, because you're lonely.
Yeah.
She says something like that.
You are accustomed to this feeling anywhere.
What feeling?
Unbelonging.
I think you might be right on this.
Picard discusses the euphoric element of being in the collective. Girardi doesn't connect with people. She's sort of a wild card. She's weird. She gets a taste of that collective.
What you have just done here is more difficult and vastly more dangerous than you realize.
And what is that?
You've impressed me.
Well, the Borg Queen requested legs. So I think they're going to somehow merge. Or Allison Girardi's going to stab the Borg Queen in the eye with a fork and then pull out all of her plugs and shove them into her own head. And then that's going to be the kicker at the end of one episode is Picard's going to walk in and go, Girardi? And she's going to go like this.
You call me the Borg Queen, the cutest.
Girardi's become the Borg Queen. Rios, we need you back here right away.
What do you want me to do about the Borg Queen? I'm trying to reform immigration. I'm trying to pass this bill in Congress. I'm posing as a state senator.
Rios, we don't have time to reform immigration. Girardi's become the Borg Queen. 7, where are you?
We're at a climate change rally.
Girardi's become the Borg Queen. She was lonely, I guess. That's the best they could come up with. Where's Elnor?
Elnor's dead, you old prick. You killed him.
I didn't kill him. Trying to save the universe. Again.
I often found myself thinking, like, what would someone in Starfleet do in a situation like this? Don't you?
Okay, yeah.
Like what would they do? You know, what is the
What is the right thing to do? Because that is what the Starfleet officer would do.
Yes. It's not pointing out what is bad. It's instructing people on what the right thing to do is. I think that's the difference we've been struggling to kind of find.
I think so.
This show points out bad. That bad. We don't like that. Instead of saying this is the right thing to do. And maybe they'll kind of correct that, and maybe some things will happen in the show this season that prove us wrong. But I think that's the difference, and that's kind of what we're fumbling around trying to find the answer to here.
7 episodes left, Mike. It might be brilliant.
7, really?
It's 10, probably. First season was 10.
God.
We can stop whenever you want.
There is someone there to help. Seek the Watcher.
It's meant to hook you and kind of throw out a lot of what's going to happen, keep you tuned in every week until it ends, and then they're going to pull the rug out from under you and say, thanks for watching, sucker.
Live long and prosper, my friend. Thank you so much. Thanks to everybody for coming out today.
Hold off that bias. Hold off that bias. We don't know.
We don't know, and we're going through this like everybody else.
There is a non-zero chance it will be brilliant.
Okay, is that your scientific opinion?
That's my scientific opinion. There is a non-zero chance that it will be brilliant.
There are events coming up in season 2 that have never been seen before. And I'm excited just at the thought of putting it on camera. And it's so far very, very satisfying.